Good morning, Dolente, and morning to all our listeners. It's another Friday, and our programs are at Radio Mark 105.5 from 9 in the morning up to 10 o'clock. Yes, we are most welcome. Just as Dolente has introduced, we are going to be touching two topics today. Last week we tried to do something about this China, the rising superpower of the world, which last week we tried to talk about that, but we had problems with our live streaming. So this week I don't think we are going to live stream at all. We'll just go ahead and then just go on with the radio broadcast. So you are all welcome. You are most welcome indeed. Yeah, it's been a hectic and vigorous week and counting since the massive, explosive, news broke about a minister or former minister of state, hoarding a whole hell of millions of various denominations of monies, and is the main topic all over the country, and even up to the international media have picked it up, BBC and some other Deutsche Welle and Al Jazeera and so many international newspapers have picked it up. It is of very grave concern to a whole lot of Ghanaians. And I am particularly interested in this topic because some time ago I did mention that this surge in the inflation rate and then the dollar just rising comes from nobody. People try to pin it on, when it's getting to Christmas or Easter time, people import a lot of things. It's not from anybody importing anything. It is not from businessmen importing anything at all. It's not from that. It's from politicians. These are massive amounts of kickbacks, or create, loot and share monies that are converted into dollars. That is what leads to it. Look, how much do our people import? There are just a few people who bring in millions and millions of dollars of imports from China and Europe and maybe America. And most of these are foreign companies. These Indians, Lebanese, and then and the like. They are the people. But the average Ghanaian who is at selling spare parts and all that, for most part, about 4 of them will contribute money just, to fill a container, 4-footer container. 4. How much do they spend? $5,000, $4,000, $6,000. So most of the monies that you hear, or any time you hear that the value of the cedi is just collapsing, beyond redemption, know that some huge contracts have been awarded, some kickbacks have been paid in cedis, and politicians have gone into the markets, into the black market, to change these monies. That is the whole reason for this, brouhaha about the cedi falling and all that. They try to quote all manner of them, but it's not true. It's a lie. It's a lie. Now, but let's talk about the black market and even the dollar and foreign exchange for that matter. Some time ago, I remember in 1972, when I had my first letter, I was being posted abroad to Lebanon as a diplomat. It was so easy. You just made an application. You went to the Bank of Ghana and then they gave you the dollars. It was as easy as that. They gave you dollars, or you could get what they call traveler's checks at that time. There were some check leaves. It was like a checkbook, like your check that you collect from the bank. And then you just sign it, and then, that is if you didn't want to risk collecting the cash in dollars or sterling and put it in your pocket. And at that time, what was the exchange rate? For 1 cedi, And 2 pesos, I'm talking about 2 pesos, so not 20 pesos. 1 cedi at that time, and 2 pesos, you could get $1. 1 cedi, 2 pesos was $1. And that was how I changed the money and collected the dollars. I was admiring them. I also had some traveler's checks, And then I left and then went to Lebanon. It was just as easy as that. We didn't have these forex bureaus or bureau de change or this black market. Or that time we were operating black market. Well, you were going to get nothing out of it because you could go to the bank, Bank of Ghana, and then collect your dollars and go. Now, but something happened when I got to Beirut, the capital of Lebanon. I went to town. Then I saw on the streets of Lebanon, Beirut, Hamra, the biggest street at that time before this war that started and all those, and then the civil war that has destroyed Lebanon. Their main street was Hamra, El Hamra. El Hamra was actually a cinema, but they had a street known as Hamra Street. I even lived around Hamra for some time. I also lived in one place called Verdun. I lived in Raoshi. I lived in the Ramlet Al Baida and all, a whole number of places in Beirut before I came home. I was there for 4 years. Now, when I went to town, I saw a Lebanese sitting down, and then he had a table. And on the table, I saw cedis. I said, what is Ghana money doing here in Beirut, Lebanon? I saw cedis, I saw dollars, I saw sterling, various types of money that the French franc, that time the euro was not out yet. Dutch, the marks and all that. So I asked the man, what are you doing? He said he was selling the money. I said, so if I bring cedis, I said, no, if you have cedis, bring it. I'll give you dollar or Lebanese pound. I was surprised. And we as diplomats at that time, and I believe it is the same now, when you went out and you saw something which appeared to you to be innovative and that your country might, benefit from it, you write a report. So I wrote my report and sent it to Accra. That this was what I saw. So we should introduce that into Ghana so that people wouldn't be putting pressure on, the banks to give them dollars. That was even before the Achampong time when, things started changing. No, Achampong had just come. At that time. But when it came, military regimes, they got the report. They never even read those reports. Now, I had a chance to come back to Ghana, and then I went to inquire what had happened to the report I sent. And the report somebody told me was, no, Ghana is very different. Ghana, you can't do this type of thing here. If you bring the dollars, one person will come and change all. I said, no, the dollars is not to be put on the market by the government. It is people who have come from outside who have the dollars, who will go to these places and change. And I'm talking of 72, 73. This thing was never done until around 88, when Rawlings brought it. And look at how it improved upon the economy of Ghana when Rawlings introduced the Bureau de Change or forex bureaus. Look at how it became very easy to get foreign exchange. It became very easy. So we have always been very, very slow. Now, when when Achampong came, after some time, we had a period of Kalabule, and the economy was really wretched. It was bad. Achampong had introduced his doctrine, that Yentua. How do you go and collect money from IMF and World Bank and say that you won't pay? Okay, so they blacklisted Ghana, and then no imports were coming, and then Ghana we started having a hell of problems. It was at that time that the value of the cedi started to collapse massively. It collapsed massively, and besides, Buzia had also devalued the cedi so heavily, but it was at that time that they stayed the coast. So by about 74, 75, Ghana was on its knees. So black market then came in, where Nigerians, people from Niger, that was their specialty. They specialized in this black marketing. You could go to them, you change a whole lot of money. So that's how black marketing started. They started selling dollars and all those things. Then, of course, Rawlings formalized the whole thing around 1988. 87, towards the end of 87 and then 88. I was with, an NGO, the Guinea Worm program in Ghana. I was the director of administration for Ghana on the dracunculiasis or Guinea Worm project. So we were allowed to go and then change, we brought in dollars, and we actually wrote to the Bank of Ghana and asked them to give us a special dispensation where we could collect our dollars from our dollar account and go to the Bureau de Change and then change the money there. Okay, so the Bank of Ghana actually gave me that, the Guinea Worm project that dispensation. Instead of going, because the Bureau de Change exchange rate or the amount of cedis that we got was more than what the banks were giving or the Bank of Ghana could give you. So that is how this banking started. Then later, in fact, why is it that Ghana has not been able to do away with this black market? We can never do away with it because the greatest black marketeers are the politicians. The biggest black marketeers in Ghana are the politicians. And even some of the licensed Bureau de Change or Forex Bureau people, what the politicians do is that they will ring them, and tell them, look, I have a lot of cedis. So, if you get dollars, just, bring this amount. They will bring it, then they will give it to them. That's what they do. And so when there's so much pressure on the dollar, the exchange rate will collapse. Now, when you come to this Cecilia Da Paz story, you can find out that it is said that the stealing of the money started in June of 2022. And then, apparently they didn't know. So it is possible that they had millions and millions and millions of cedis. It is most possible that they had millions of cedis in the house. And they had contacts, just as fast as, and they wanted to convert these cedis into the dollar because the exchange rate was just rising, And then when you do that, you put so much pressure on the dollar and then you weaken the cedi more and more. So I believe they had contacts whom they will ring and tell them, look, can you find some, we have cedi, anytime you have dollars, just bring it to us. And the amount to, there'll be a lot of pressure. Yeah, wait, now things are very tough. The dollar is very, very, very scarce to come by. So anytime they got the dollar, they gave it to them and then they changed and kept the money in the house. Most politicians are doing that. She's not the only person. She's not the only person. And there has been one thing too I have always been against. That is to hear anytime I've heard that the Bank of Ghana was releasing dollars into the market. I just say, look at this. It's one of the most stupid, sort of interventions I have heard of in my life. One of the most stupid interventions is for the Bank of Ghana to say that they are pushing these dollars. Now, anytime they are pushing the dollars, the politicians, in fact, pressure, I believe strongly, as a former intelligence operative, that pressure, in fact, the people, the relevant people at the Bank of Ghana are actually instructed to release that amount. When that amount comes out, it is given to the managers of the various banks. By that time, the politicians have seen the management of those banks and told them they are going to release $200 million. When it comes, I want this amount. Give me $50 million. Give me 5. Give me 6. That's what is happening. That is what the game. So anytime you hear that there's an intervention, and how many of the interventions of the Bank of Ghana releasing monies into the domain of the foreign exchange system, how has it ever helped? How has it ever helped? The economy of Ghana. It has never. When the amount is released, you see that, the exchange rate will stabilize for some time. When the politicians mop up all the dollars, then things start again. This is what they have been doing. It's been an age-old thing. Now, why is it that some people may ask, why is it that the lady By the way, how were the girls caught? The girls, according to the stories, were caught. In fact, nobody knew that those things were being stolen. And I believe that the young ladies were also very stupid. Instead of them to be siphoning away the cash, they started collecting suits, perfumes, jewelry, and all sorts of stupid things. These are traceable things, But if you collect the money they didn't know. It was so much they didn't know. But then greed ran out of their luck. Greed sort of suppressed, or retired the luck they had in stealing. They went on, apparently, the former minister and the husband, they had a house help who had resigned somehow and then introduced a new lady who came in. Then the two of them collaborated and managed to, duplicate the master, one of the keys, the key to the strong room where the money was kept. So anytime the lady went to work and the husband went to work, the two of them will come. One of them will stand as a sentry, as a lookout, and then one will go in and then bring out the money and they go and share. But a day, their cup got full. A day came when the lady was at the gate watching that, the husband of Madam Cecilia and she herself, they had gone to work. Apparently, the husband had a workshop, or there was some conference or something somewhere. But when she went, they postponed, the meeting for that particular, they postponed the period for the meeting. So she came back home earlier than expected. Now, by the time she came, because luck had run out of the young ladies, one of them, the one they look out, apparently wanted to go and relieve herself somewhere. So she moved away from the gate, and then the husband came, opened the door. When she went in, this lady was startled. She was in the strong room, so she hid behind the door. Then the man came, "What are you doing inside our bedroom, our strong room?" It was then that they took stock of, the money they had, and then started to count whatever was there. Now, when this happened, I think the case was reported to the police. The police arrested them and somehow used their own techniques to get the young ladies to start to confess, what had happened, So when they confessed, I believe they put up a crisis management team and said, what have you done with the money? Apparently there was one of them who had a boyfriend and a retired boyfriend. So the current boyfriend, this girl gave her some money. The retired and ex-boyfriend gave her two money. Then she built a 3-bedroom house in Accra and was staying with the current boyfriend. Then came to Tamale and rented another 3-bedroom house with a store and was staying with the retired or ex-boyfriend. Gave the ex-boyfriend some cash, the current boyfriend took some cash. And the surprising thing was that she also gave some money to her father, but the money given to the boyfriends was double what she gave to her own father. So that was how they were spending the money. Then the one in Tamale, they went and found a whole head of CDs with her and about $42,000. So how come, if the money were not so much and so plenty, how come that it was not discovered before the start? But several things were to happen. When the discovery was made, they started retrieving these monies, the cars that these girls had bought. They had also, as I mentioned, built some houses and stores. They collected all these monies. But I think somebody somewhere was selfish and greedy. Because after you have retrieved all these monies, why would you go to the police station and to the courts and then throw the whole of this matter, which happened way back in October last year, 2022, throw it into the public domain? And the public has pounced on the information with reckless abandon and alacrity, and the whole thing has rather turned, instead of this thing being a simple criminal case, it is now a case of corruption that has become a hot chain around the neck of Cecilia Dapa. So you can see there's a bit of greed there. Because if you had so much money in a room that you didn't even know, when $1 million was stolen, you were not aware. Are you not? And then you have managed to arrest the culprits. You have retrieved some of the money. Doesn't it come to one's mind that, look, if this thing goes to the public, the repercussions will be worse than if I just suppress it and allow the girls to go with whatever is left? Because after all, with so much money in your strong room, I mean, the whole house could have caught fire. The whole house could have caught fire and burnt everything that you even have one plus one. So you see how selfish and greedy we can be. And when we are selfish and greedy, we would rather go and expose ourselves. And that is how come that the case has become so hot. Now I believe a crisis management team has been put forward, and they are doing their damnedest best, because one, this lady is a cabinet member of the present government. She's a member of the party in power, and she's a minister of state, and a very well known and popular person. So I think if she had brought in many more people to think deeply about this case would not have gone to court. But of course, there's a lot of firefighting now going on. Some image makers, immediately they happen, people within the MPP circle, they have taken it as as NDC MPP matter. But I think the rest of the Ghanaians, even including many MPP people I've met, they are not happy about this case at all. They are simply not happy. Because even MPP foot soldiers, when you look at them, a lot of them are struggling like any other ordinary Ghanaian. They don't have jobs. They don't have food to eat. They can't pay school fees. They can't pay hospital bills. They can't pay their rents. And somebody has so much money that $1 million could be stolen and she wouldn't know. Now, let us also come to another. A lot of image makers, as far as I'm concerned, many of them are making matters even worse for this lady. Some people came, that some people died and they went, it was funeral donations. I mean, some sort of terrible lies here and there. I thought that some party commentators would have been advised to stay away from wading into this matter, because the story is not that easy to, just parry off. It's not going to be that easy. Especially when we refer to some years back, around November 2013, when the NDC was in power, there was a deputy minister for communication who dreamt aloud. She was soliloquizing that she was sleep talking, that she wished that she was going to work hard and get $1 million. She hadn't started working yet. She hadn't even started earning any money, and she hadn't even received the $1 million, and yet she was dismissed. See? So the matter has been a rough and tough one. Government is struggling with it, and unfortunately, the president of the land has unsurprisingly jumped in and then made some statements, and a lot of people are not very happy with that statement that the president has made. To wit, that he is sure that this lady will be free. Then also there is a commentator who appears on some programs in the night or evenings, and then makes certain commentaries. And some of those commentaries are a bit strange, trying to talk of the lady having $200,000 out of the $1 million. That $200,000 was hers, and that $800,000 is for the brother who is dead, and the whole they started sharing the money here and there. And I said, look, this it will not wash. The office of the special prosecutor if they want to do a thorough job, look, if the money is stolen, there is no way you cannot wish anything away, unless the office of the special prosecutor does not want to do a thorough job. It's not going to be that easy to simply say that $200,000 was hers. No, so that $200,000, how did she get it? How did she get it? Was it part of her salary? She go to a bureau de change to change it? Did she go to the black market? Has she got evidence of those transactions and all that? I think it's going to be a difficult thing, but it's a very sad thing indeed. The situation has damaged her political career. She has already been dismissed, and the exposure that she has had all over the world, it's another serious matter. But you see, this matter is more serious than Ghanaians want to look at it. If it had been an NDC member who had this money in his house, do you know what would have happened? Do you know the charges that an NDC politician having this amount of money in the house would have had? The anti-money laundering people, they will simply go. It could be drug money. It could be money from cocaine. People haven't thrown all these things into it. There's nothing that is her money. Money from what was the source of that money? It could be money from drugs. It could be. And when it comes to money laundering, look, the accused will have to sort of come and purge himself or herself of the genuineness or whatever of having that money. It is the person who is hoarding the money. You must explain yourself. I have also heard so many lawyers say some things. I found them very strange indeed, very, very strange. A lot of lawyers have said, oh, there's no law in Ghana that says you shouldn't keep money in your house. That there's no such law. You see, when they speak like that, I look at that and say, there must be something wrong with these lawyers. How can a lawyer talk like this? How can you say there's no such law? There are laws in Ghana. They may be, criminal cases vicariously. They may be vicariously criminal cases. Do you think if they go to a Ghanaian's house and he has got $50 million cash inside, it will not be of concern not just to Ghana but the whole world? It is a serious security matter. As an intelligence operative, both at the external level and internal level, I'm telling you that there are laws in Ghana. You can't have that type of money and go away free. Free. Yes, you may go into your acts and statutes and the instruments, legislative, whatever administrative instruments, say that there's no such law. But I am telling you there is a law like that. See, one of the things that we are not aware of is this. In every state, there are two regimes when you come to dealing with crime or treasonable cases. Treasonable cases. Now, we have the security angle. When you talk of security, your mind will go to the law enforcement angle of security management. And that is where lawyers avail themselves to. They think of the law enforcement side. But I can tell you, in every country, in Britain, America, everywhere, including Ghana, we have the intelligence angle. Now, with the security angle, when the police arrest you, it is the police who should prove that you are guilty. But with the intelligence officers, when they arrest you, the assumption and presumption is that you are already guilty. Let me make this clear to everybody. All intelligence operatives, when they are, look, if they suspect you and they don't arrest you as a suspect too. They arrest you. You must pay yourself of what is being hung on your neck. All intelligence operatives. And that is why when you go to the Guantanamo Bay, even Diego Garcia, when the CIA, arrested so-called terrorists and all that, they ran away with them outside of the jurisdiction of America, where human rights pundits will come out and talk for those people. So they put them at Diego Garcia in an island. And some were kept there for 10 years. Listen to me very well. 10 years. The CIA is our intelligence agency. They kept them there. They tortured them. They tortured them. It is they who must confess. Some were, they were innocent, but they kept them for 10 good years. So don't deceive yourself. Lawyers, don't go around deceiving yourselves. That when you have this money, you haven't broken the law. You have. The intelligence officers can come for you. BNI can come for you. And when BNI takes you, look, let me repeat this again. The intelligence operatives, theirs is different from security law enforcement. So let us get it straight. Security, the law enforcement regime, as practiced by the policeman, is different from the intelligence agencies worldwide. The policeman, he will look at the law and charge you. The intelligence operative will not do that. He just, once he gets you, you must peg yourself vigorously and seriously to show that you are not guilty. So these are some of the things that we must know